Hello, it's Sonia here, The Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy to have you here. So today is Tuesday, and that means it's Tunisian Tuesday, where we either feature a Tunisian stitch pattern or we do an actual Tunisian crochet project. And today we are doing a stitch pattern, and to do this I am going to use my H hook or 5mm hook. And as you can see, I'm just using a regular straight crochet hook. So if you want to practice some Tunisian stitches, you do not need to use a Tunisian hook. And to do this, I'm just using some scrap yarn that I have. So here it is. It's number 4 worsted weight. I am not sure the brand of this yarn, but definitely a number 4 yarn. And I've already gotten started on row 1. So what you will need to do is you will need to chain a multiple of 3, and then you will need to add 2. So I chained 14 for my practice swatch here because 4 times 3 is 12, and you add 2 and it's 14. So I'm going to show you a clip on how to get started on row 1. So we're going to get started on row 1. So this first row is our setup row. So in our second chain from our hook, I like to work in the back bump of the chain. So I'm just turning it over right there in the back bump. I'm going to insert my hook in there and pull up a loop. And if you've never done Tunisian crochet before, I do have a whole playlist that goes over the basics to get you started. And with Tunisian crochet, each row is worked in 2 parts. So the first part of the row is the forward pass, where you are putting your stitches on your hook like I'm doing right now. And then the second part is called the return pass, and that is where you take your stitches off, and each part equals 1 row. Okay, so there is our forward pass of row 1. So the amount of stitches that you chained, you should have the same amount in your hook. So I chained 14, so I have 14 loops on my hook. But if you chained a different amount, then obviously you would have a different amount of loops on your hook. So let's work on the return pass, where we're going to yarn over, pull through 1 loop, yarn over, pull through 2 for the rest of the row. Alright, so there is row 1. Okay, so we are back. So let's get ready for row 2. This is just a 2-row repeat for this particular stitch pattern. So we're going to work Tunisian simple, but we're going to do it a decrease, and we're going to insert our hook in the first 3 vertical bars in Tunisian simple stitch. Just like that. We're going to yarn over and we're going to pull up a loop, and now we are going to chain 1. Alright, so to do the next stitch, I've got my double pointed needle here to demonstrate. We're going to do a yarn over, and we're going to insert our hook right here in that chain that we made. So we've done our yarn over, we're going inside that chain, and we're going to pull up a loop. And we're going to repeat across. So in the next 3 vertical bars, work that Tunisian simple stitch. We're decreasing, and we're going to yarn over, chain 1, yarn over, insert our hook into that chain we made, pull up a loop, and repeat. Alright, so we are at the end of our row. We're going to work in our stitch that looks like a chain, pulling up a loop. So I chained 14. I will still have 14 loops on our hook. Let's do our return pass. We're going to yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2 for the rest of the row. Alright, so there is row 2. This is just a 2-row repeat for this particular stitch pattern. So let's begin row 3. So in the first 2 stitches we're going to work Tunisian knit stitch, so that's our vertical bar, but we're going through it. And we're doing Tunisian knit in the second one. Now we're going to yarn over and we're going to do Tunisian simple decrease in the next 2 vertical bars. So 1, 2, yarn over, pull up a loop. So now in the next stitch we're going to do Tunisian knit in the next vertical bar, pull up a loop. Now we're going to yarn over again and do that Tunisian simple in the next 2, that decrease. And we're repeating across, so it's Tunisian knit, yarn over, Tunisian simple decrease in the next 2 vertical bars. So we'll do that across. You're going to do the Tunisian knit stitch, yarn over, decrease in the next 2 vertical bars until you get to the last 3 stitches. So in the next vertical bar we're going to do Tunisian knit, second to last one Tunisian knit, and then we work in our stitch that looks like a chain at the end, pulling up a loop. And again, we should still have 14 loops, or if you chained a different number, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2 for the return pass. But as I said before, if you chained a different number, so let's say you chained 17, because 3 times 5 is 15, add 2, 17, then you would have 17 loops on your hook. So what you're going to do for this particular stitch pattern is you are going to repeat rows 2 and 3 for however long you want your swatch, and you are going to want to end on a row 2. So repeating rows 2 and 3, and then your final row is a row 2, and then we will do our bind off row. So I'm going to go do that and I will meet you back. Now, of course, before I sign off here, you're going to be working in some yarn over. So here is one right here. So to begin row 4, you're working a row 2. You're inserting your hook in those first 3 vertical bars. So see this yarn over right here, it's a little bit shorter, it's a little bit hidden, but you want to make sure that you work in that stitch. So they can be hidden, so you're going to pull up that loop, chain 1, yarn over, insert your hook in and pull up a loop. So then you have your next 3, so here's 1, 2, there's that yarn over. So if you're having trouble finding the yarn overs, you certainly can use stitch markers to help yourself find them, but I just wanted to point that out so that you don't miss them. Alright, so again, repeat rows 2 and 3 and end on a row 2, and I'll meet you back. Alright, so here is my swatch. I worked 12 rows. I think it's a really pretty stitch, and it lays kind of flat. It curls a little, but it's not too bad. So let's work our bind off row. So as I said, you want to end on a row 2, which I already did. So we're just going to bind off in Tunisian simple, which is, so binding off is a combination of Tunisian crochet and regular crochet. So I'm working Tunisian simple stitch, pulling up a loop, and then I'm finishing it off with a slip stitch. So that's the regular crochet. So this is the Tunisian crochet part, working the Tunisian simple stitch, and now we work a slip stitch, which is regular crochet, and we do that all the way across. Okay, so here is our swatch, and as I said before, I think it's a really pretty stitch. Lays relatively flat. I did do another swatch here, and again I did use my H hook and worsted weight yarn, and I chained 17 for this guy here. So as you can see, it is a really pretty textured stitch. Yes, it curls a little bit, but not too bad. I think this would look great in a blanket or a hat, a scarf, a whole bunch of different projects that you could use this stitch for. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.